Story 1. There isn't. Being told that will always be a gut punch. Story 2. I have always done it this way. It gets results and people are grateful. I pull someone to the side and say I do not know how to say this, but if the shoe were on the other foot I would want someone to tell me. Your deodorant might not be doing the job. It is no big deal. I have had it happen before. I just wish someone had told me. Story 3. Hey Bill, could you pass the salt? By the way, you smell like a longshoreman. Story 4. Walk past them. Audibly say ugh, then vomit and pass out on the floor. Story 5. As someone who frequently smells bad because of random things, please be straightforward. I would rather explain why and have you judge me from there than have you draw your own conclusions. Story 6. My mother still says I should burn that shirt. I am well past 40. Lady, I have been working in a 110 degrees Fahrenheit shop for the last 8 hours. Do you expect me to smell like a field of lavender? I expect you to go take a shower. Story 7. Say, I have noticed there is a smell on you instead of saying you smell. Story 8. Hey, soap and water are free in this house. I just got out of the shower. If you want to hop in next, go ahead. Story 9. You smell bad. Please take a shower. Story 10. Say, all people who smell good, raise your hand. When he begins to raise his hand, say, not so fast. Story 11. I told one best buddy and one nephew. I said to my buddy, hey, you know I love you, right, Dave? He said, okay. I said that I have to tell him that either he or his clothing smell very bad. He said, really? Okay, I guess it is shower and laundry time. I used the same approach with my nephew. This ensured that no feelings were hurt. Story 12. It depends. I work in a male-dominated field that involves hard physical labor. Sweat and body odor happen. If it is the end of the day, I do not say anything because I get it. I probably do not smell great either. If it is the beginning of the day and we just arrived, my foolproof method is to ask if I smell bad. They will say no and I will look confused. The next day they have showered and done laundry. Story 13. As a teacher, I told my tutor group at the start of the year that I would tell them outright if they smelled. Thankfully, I have not had to, but if I needed to, I would simply say to them alone, hey Toby, you need to shower more often. Story 14. Pardon me, good sir. I regret to say that you have an unpleasant odor. Story 15. I like that new scent you're wearing, but it's a little aggressive. Maybe dial it down a bit. Story 16. Get human resources to do it for you if it's a workplace. Those soulless bastards live to be snarky assholes. Story 17. I know it will hurt, but you do not smell good. I think it is my duty to inform you before others hate you. Story 18. Honestly, if one of my friends said, dude, you smell, it would be friendly enough that they would not be embarrassed. Story 19. Hey, I thought you might want to know that you have body odor. Story 20. I have small travel deodorant sticks I got at an event. I pass them over in secret like I am doing a drug deal, and nod as if I know you know. Story 21. When you need to deliver bad news to someone, it helps to prepare them. People are more emotionally resilient when they have a moment to prepare. Begin by saying, I would like to talk with you about something. This is a difficult subject, and you may not like what I have to say. Then deliver the information clearly and compassionately. Story 22. Sometimes we do not have to be polite. That does not mean we are being disrespectful. I would personally be grateful if I smelled bad and someone pulled me aside to tell me. Other times, we just have to mind our own business. Story 23. Hey, you smell like something, so you should probably wash or change it. There is no nice way to say this, only a helpful way. Story 24. You smell bad. Body odor usually comes from bacteria breaking down sweat. Common causes include inadequate bathing, not washing clothes, certain foods, garlic, onions, alcohol, strong-smelling medicines, excessive sweating or medical conditions, hyperhidrosis, infections, metabolic disorders. To correct it, shower daily with soap, dry thoroughly, use deodorant or antiperspirant, wash clothes and bedding frequently, wear breathable fabrics, Shave or trim underarm hair, adjust diet, and see a doctor if the smell is sudden, very strong, or does not improve with hygiene. For social situations, address the person privately and kindly. Story 25. Ask them what deodorant they use, and when they respond, tell them it is not working. Story 26. If the issue is bad breath, always offer mints. If the issue is body odor and the person is a preteen or teenager, take them aside and explain clearly and respectfully that they should start using deodorant. If the issue is body odor on an adult coworker, use a diffuser with essential oils to help mask the odor. Story 27. She coughed instinctively, grabbed the edge of the support, and spotted a historical touch on the skirt she deserved. Story 28. The way I have dealt with this in the past is something like the following. Hey, this will be uncomfortable to hear, and it is also uncomfortable for me to say because it is a sensitive and awkward topic, but I have noticed some body odor. Then ask whether they are okay: health, housing, mental health, or finances. Sometimes there is a deeper issue, but other times they simply do not realize they have noticeable body odor. Story 29. My wife told a story about a store where she used to work. A team unloaded trucks, but one of the workers had a strong body odor, so no one wanted that task anymore. The manager made gift baskets for everyone with soap, wipes, and deodorant. Thankfully, he used the items and the issue was resolved. Story 30. What are your thoughts on showers? Every day or once a year? It seems like you are signed up for the annual subscription. Story 31. Actually, there is no polite way to say that. You could ask them which perfume they use, but they might not take the hint. Story 32. If it is a coworker, go through human resources. If they are a guest in your home, the polite approach is to offer them the use of your shower and say you have a spare towel and toothbrush if they want to freshen up. Story 33. I say I am sweaty, so I am going to put on deodorant. Do you want some too? Story 34. I had a coworker who smelled of body odor. Someone put deodorant in his work area, and he went straight to management and complained. The supervisor told him he needed to improve his hygiene or else. Turned out the boss had no idea until someone closed the boss's office door. Either way, it made work awkward. Story 35. One coworker brings others into my office to smell me and comment on my odor. He then lists zoo animals for comparison. I shower every day, but I sweat a lot. This is a humorous but somewhat degrading way to handle the situation. Story 36. Tell them you do not want others to gossip about them, so you are letting them know. Whether this will work depends on the issue they have. Story 37. Spray them with a pleasantly scented cleaner whenever you see them. Story 38. I have struggled with this in situations involving stubborn people. But I bathe is the common answer. Fuck you, I don't stink was one. The best approach is to say, that kind of deodorant does not work for everyone. Here, try this. Give them an antiperspirant rather than a deodorant. It is the only thing that removes strong body odor. Story 39. My ex-boyfriend's older brother smelled so bad I had to put my face in my sweater whenever I was in the car with him. His father smelled as well, but the brother was the worst. He was fairly smart. He had been a scientist at one point, I think, but he lived on welfare when I knew him. For some unknown reason, he would not use soap, deodorant, or shampoo. His sisters tried hard to get him to clean himself, but he would not. He never washed his clothes and his teeth were a mess. He was hard to distinguish from a homeless person. Normally, I would say this was a sign of severe mental illness, but he was lucid, had friends, and even had a girlfriend at one point, which surprised me. One time we were coming back on the train from a New Year's Eve bar crawl, and he started to cry because he could not find anyone to be in a relationship with. My boyfriend and I just looked at each other in disbelief. Story 40. Is that a 3-day-old sausage in your pants? Or do you need a shower? Story 41. You would tell someone if they had a booger hanging off the side of their nose, wouldn't you? Any initial embarrassment is worth it because you are doing them a favor rather than letting them go on not knowing. I used the same logic when I told a man that his hygiene routine was not working. To help, I offered a personal example. I used to use deodorant and learned the hard way that it did not work, so I switched to antiperspirant. Of course, he raised the common claim that antiperspirant causes Alzheimer's and similar objections. I replied, "So you really want to remember this conversation forever?" He took the advice. Story 42. I worked with a coworker from India who did not bathe every day and reeked of garlic and body odor. He smelled so bad that one of our administrative staff, a woman who took no nonsense from anyone, went into the women's room, grabbed a can of air freshener, and walked through our office area, making sure to spray for a long time near his desk. She emptied an entire industrial-sized can of Lysol spray in an 800-square-foot room, and you could see the haze in the air, almost as bad as that one guy's girlfriend with the humidifier. The boss talked with him and explained that in American culture we bathe daily. The strong smell then subsided. Story 43. I'm not sure about that, but let me tell you, if anyone offers me a mint, I always accept, just in case they're being subtle. Story 44. I have two 14-year-old brothers. The best I came up with is, "You know how much I love you, don't you? I really do. You smell bad. Go put on deodorant." Story 45. My word, that's quite an unusual scent you're wearing. Covers nose. Story 46. I hereby declare that your current aroma is historically significant. Story 47. Next time we are in the elevator together, maybe I should take the stairs because it smelled bad. Story 48. In college we tried yelling at one of our roommates and he didn't care. So we dragged him, fully clothed, into the shower and squirted body wash all over him. Then told him we would unlock the dorm room door once we were satisfied. He started bathing once a week after that. Not ideal, but it was better than once a month, if that. Story 49. I would put on deodorant in front of them while they are looking and say, "This smells nice. Try it." I do not know if there is any way to actually tell someone they have body odor. Story 50. I have asked this question elsewhere. I work with adult students, and one student smells particularly stale, like a combination of sweat and moldy wet clothes. We, the staff, have to work in close proximity. The student's aunt also works with us. Her hygiene is not particularly good, but it is better than the student's. If we tell him, I am 100% sure he will tell his aunt, and she will become very angry with us. We will likely get in trouble. We are at a loss and are looking for help. Story 51. Just say, "What's that smell? Do you smell it?" whenever the person gets close. Story 52. Hello, kind fellow. Would you please move to the restroom and wash yourself? Your odor is causing ongoing harm to my well-being. I am sure you have considerable character, but your strong, stale odor is overpowering. Then you vomit on their shoes. Story 53. Spray them with a hose and powdered soap. Unless there are certain situations, such as developmental disabilities or being in the field for 2 weeks, you should not smell terrible. This is not 18th century Europe. Story 54. Did heaven lose an angel? You smell like something died. Story 55. Speak privately. 1. Ensure it is a one-on-one conversation to avoid embarrassing the person. 2. Be empathetic. Start with care and concern. For example, I hope you do not mind me saying this, but I wanted to let you know something privately because I care. 3. Focus on the situation, not the person. For example, I have noticed a bit of an odor and was not sure if you were aware. I thought I would mention it in case you want to check it out. 4. Offer support or understanding. For example, sometimes this can happen with a new deodorant or laundry detergent. Let me know if there is anything I can do to help. Story 56. Roses are red. Violets are blue. Please take a shower. And use deodorant too. Story 57. You smell like you shat yourself and then licked your underwear clean. Go wash up, you damn caveman. Story 58. A gray, lavish theory vanishes into a vast frame that entertains, fuels a smile, and inspires practice. Story 59. It is okay. You are not the first person to fall into the toilet. Story 60. I don't know, but my neighbor needs to hear this. I have never experienced body odor lingering outside before, but the body odor from my neighbor does. He uses a lot of very strong cologne over the odor, which I think creates a persistent smell that clings to the air. Story 61. I went days without taking a shower after my mom died. My grief made it too exhausting. One of my best friends said, "Honey, I love you, but you stink." I started laughing because it was so blunt. I have a strange sense of humor. Story 62. May I have a moment of your time? I have a matter I wish to bring to your attention. You smell like a dead whale's asshole. I bid you good day. Story 63. Hey, I would like you to tell me if things were reversed, but you smell really bad. Story 64. It depends on how they smell and how receptive they are. When I was younger, I hit puberty at 9 and didn't have the knowledge or funds for supplies. A teacher told me I smelled, isolated me, and told others to stay away. It would have been better if she had given me a stick of deodorant and kindly suggested I use it instead of making me an outcast. If someone is in a social situation, pull them aside and say they need to freshen up because their scent is not suitable for interaction. If someone never bathes, you may need a firmer approach. Encourage regular showers and the use of deodorant, and help them access supplies if you can. There is a right and wrong way to handle this. If you treat people respectfully, you should be fine. Story 65. Hey mate, out of pure respect, there is an unusual odor coming from you. Just looking out for you. Story 66. You fucking stink. Take a shower. Being straight to the point works best in my experience. Story 67. You are a stinky American. It is not hate if you hyphenate. Story 68. Did you want a shower before we leave? Works every single time. Story 69. Why be polite? They're being impolite because they smell that way. Story 70. Hold your breath, then exhale loudly as they walk away. Do not use rude words. Story 71. You smell like shit. There is no polite way to say this. Take a shower, please. Story 72. If you do not know them well, leave it be. If you know them, make it a joke. Story 73. Mate, you stink. Get some deodorant and take a shower. To put it mildly. Story 74. Betty Davis can help. Story 75. Maybe tell them there's an unusual smell that may be coming from their clothes. Story 76. You smell like old custard stored in an elderly grandmother's clothing. Story 77. Slider. Sniff. You stink. Then walk away. Story 78. I don't mean to be rude, but you smell absolutely terrible. Worse than a pile of garbage and almost as bad as the worst odor you can imagine. Story 79. Buy deodorant and leave it on their desk at work or in their mailbox if you know them personally. Story 80. Hey friend, I would like to talk to you about something personal. I care about you and your overall well-being. I have noticed a change in your hygiene recently, and I want to ask, is everything okay? I would like to give you my favorite soap or body wash and other personal care items. These always made me feel and smell like $1,000,000, and I hope they do the same for you. Story 81. I mean no disrespect. You have an unpleasant odor. Story 82. I am a manager at work, and I have had this conversation a couple of times. Here is what I say in conversation. Hey, what is new? You seem pretty stressed lately. Is there anything I can help with? Make sure you are taking care of yourself. When we have a lot going on, we can forget small things. I have had times when I forgot to eat well, brush my teeth, shower, or use deodorant. So please take care of yourself. Life happens. If it is a friend or family member, I might say, "Whoa, you forgot deodorant today." That is almost as bad as when I forget. Story 83. Sir, pardon me for saying so, but I detect an aroma from you akin to that of Bigfoot's dick. Good day. Story 84. Dear Monsieur, I would like to respectfully let you know that you smell like crap. Story 85. Add men's deodorant to our combined shopping list. I did this yesterday and it worked. Laughing out loud. Story 86. You smell so bad that the local cheesemaker is asking for professional tips. Story 87. Putting deodorant on their desk when they are not looking. Story 88. If it is a coworker, have human resources handle it. If it is a friend, mention a similar situation where human resources spoke with a coworker who smelled. Their reaction will show how they might respond when you bring it up. If it is a family member, tell them directly because family relationships usually allow for direct feedback. Story 89. I think this belongs in there is no tactful way of bringing this up. I step back 1 or 2 paces from them. Story 90. People would rather let someone humiliate themselves forever than just tell them. Story 91. Your deodorant is not great. I have a really good one called XYZ that I recommend. Story 92. First say their name gently. Then say there is something you need to say. Tell them you are still on good terms, but lately there has been an unpleasant odor coming from them. Here is a script. Elizabeth, I need to tell you something. There has been a noticeable body odor lately. Story 93. I think the best way is to smell your underarms and tell the person, damn, I stink. I forgot to put on deodorant. Story 94. Pull them aside and tell them you care and wish them well. Let them know they have a noticeable odor and reassure them that you want to help. Story 95. If they do not smell it themselves, how would they know what or how much to change? Story 96. I don't think the wording matters as much as doing it as discreetly as possible. Ideally, only you and the smelly person are aware of the conversation. Story 97. Hey, sorry to be the one to tell you, but you need a shower. I wanted to let you know before someone else did. Story 98. Be private. Never bring up this topic in front of other people. Use I statements. Focus on what you have noticed rather than accusing them. Offer a subtle solution. Suggest they might want to change their clothes or deodorant without explicitly saying they smell. Be respectful and concerned. Convey that you are bringing this up because you care and want to help. Story 99. Get a bucket of water and splash them. Jokes aside, if I am friends with that person, I will confront them and simply say, take a bath. Story 100. If I know the person well, like my brother, I just say, hey kid, you smell a bit ripe. Or, you have a bit of dragon breath. I have a medical issue that causes body odor, so I often ask my friends and family if I smell. Laughing out loud. Story 101. Isolate them. I am not saying this to embarrass you. This is more of a heads up. You have been smelling bad. Could also be that they do not wash their clothes regularly enough. Story 102. At work, we once had a meeting where we were told there was a body odor complaint about our department. All of us except one person were at the presentation when the presenter said that the next meeting was not about us. Story 103. As long as you pull them aside and tell them privately and with respect, they will take heed. Story 104. Speaking as someone with anosmia, this is a constant fear. Please just tell me. Story 105. I had a neighbor who worked at the community college. She said a young man came in to talk about his classes and career. She said he smelled terrible, like unwashed clothes. After he asked his questions, she told him to shower and wash his clothes. She did not hold back. Someone had to tell him. Story 106. It smells here, doesn't it? I wish people knew what showers are, don't you think? Story 107. I cannot assist with content that insults people based on ethnicity. Out of curiosity, has anyone ever told someone that they smelled musty? I understand that cultural or religious practices can affect personal scent. Has anyone had to spend more than an hour with someone who had a strong body odor? So, how did you handle the situation? Genuinely curious. Story 108. I work with a coworker who suddenly began wearing excessive cologne. Several of us would like to approach him about it, but we do not know how. Story 109. Continuously shake your open palm around their head while saying you are swatting pesky flies. Story 110. I wish I knew. We have a man with autism at work, and you can tell when he is working by the strong odor in the area. It has gotten so bad that if you use the restroom within 20 to 30 minutes of him, all you can notice is a dirty smell so strong you can almost taste it. Story 111. Why do you have to be polite? Dude, saying you stink works just fine. Don't sugarcoat it. Story 112. I smell my armpits, then say, I think you forgot to put on deodorant today, or something similar. Then I tell a made-up story about forgetting to use deodorant on occasion. I have done this a number of times over the years. Story 113. Offer a piece of gum. After they chew it for a few seconds, say and look confused as to why the gum didn't solve the problem. Story 114. Wash your stinky ass, motherfucker. That's military polite. Story 115. My morbidly obese female manager had bad body odor. I asked human resources for advice, and they did not know what to do. I bought air freshener for my desk. Story 116. Be firm and direct. Don't compare the odor to anything. Just say, I think you need to freshen your breath, wash your feet, or you need a bath. Story 117. It is important to discuss this topic with care and respect. Several chronic conditions and medications can cause body odor or bad breath. I had a coworker who developed a noticeable odor due to advanced liver disease and passed away months after the odor became apparent. As people remain in the workforce longer, situations like this are likely to occur more often. Story 118. It can help to deliver this news at the end of your time with that person, so they do not have to spend the remainder of the interaction feeling embarrassed. If it is at work, say something at the end of the shift so they can attend to it as soon as they are made aware. Story 119. My friend started telling me I smelled really nice today, on days when I had clearly showered or at least did not smell as bad as usual. Some of them got a little too into it and asked if I was wearing perfume, which felt obvious. I do not notice my own smell well and have been aware of the issue for a long time, so being told I smelled good felt suspicious. It was surprisingly nice to know that, even though their motivation was probably to avoid smelling me on days when my hygiene is poor, they chose to frame it in a positive and encouraging way. I still struggle with severe depression, anxiety, and sexual trauma, which make it very difficult to maintain the level of hygiene my body needs. That was probably my friend's best attempt to help me smell better. Story 120. Bro, you smell like someone defecated in an armpit, left it in the sun to bake all day, then urinated on it to rehydrate it. Take a bath, you nasty motherfucker. Usually works. Story 121. You walk into the room without looking at anyone. Say, it smells like Bigfoot's dick in here, and walk out. Story 122. A bad smell can be a symptom of something else. If the person does not normally smell, it could be depression, a change in diet, or a new medication. This is a clearly personal situation, so you need a good relationship with the person and privacy. If you do not know the person well enough or cannot find a quiet place, you may not be able to bring it up. If you do know the person well enough, start the discussion as a welfare check. For example, say, how are you? Is everything okay? Expect a generic, oh, I'm fine, thanks. You can follow with, are you sure? I'm asking properly. I want to make certain. The person might confess or may be dismissive. If they are dismissive, say, I'm worried because you seem a little down. I have also noticed a bit of an odor. Not taking care of yourself can be a sign of something deeper. Story 123. The expression is, never turn down a breath mint, meaning it might be just a gesture but could also mean you have bad breath. Give them cologne or deodorant as a gift. Story 124. I have a perfume that smells good. I just got it. Do you want some? Story 125. A friend sprayed me with cologne when I walked through the door and then gave it to me. I took the hint and it was not bad. Just make sure they like the scent, and a gift is always best, like sugar helping the medicine go down. Speaking of which, my car reeks and I need to deal with that. Story 126. If it is someone I know, I say that I am looking out for them and I do not want them to take this the wrong way, but they should know that they have a slight body odor. If I do not know the person, I say, excuse me, someone has soiled themselves here. Story 127. Have you been feeling okay? Some medical conditions can cause an unusual body odor. I do not want to embarrass you, but some people may not be aware or may be too embarrassed to ask. Story 128. I would argue there is no nice way to do it. Even if you say privately, I'm so sorry, but I think you need to wash more. You do not smell great, and I care about your personal hygiene and health. The person may still take offense. Nobody likes being told they smell bad. It is very embarrassing. However, people who consistently have a strong body odor and are around others regularly need to be told that their odor is off-putting. Story 129. This conversation is kind of boring. Hey, let's go take a shower. Story 130. I would probably just mention that there is a general unpleasant smell, but you do not know where it is coming from. Story 131. Say it quietly, off to the side, and as kindly as possible. Some people have strong adverse reactions to deodorant and may feel insecure because they are aware of their body odor. Story 132. Did you shit yourself and then use it to brush your teeth? You fucking reek, bud. The politest thing is to let them know in no uncertain terms before they go smell bad around other people. Story 133. Dude, let us talk privately about why my eyes are watering. I am telling you this as a friend. Story 134. Excuse me. I do not mean to be rude or embarrass you, but I thought you should know there is a strong or unpleasant smell around you. I would want to know, so I wanted to mention it. Hey, I do not mean to embarrass you, but you may have a personal hygiene issue. People often do not say anything to avoid offending others. I would appreciate being told if I had an unpleasant odor so I could address it. Story 135. Always pull the person aside in private and tell them gently. Do not do this in front of others. Story 136. Take out your Vicks stick and sniff it. They will get it after a few times unless it is a matter of culture or religion. Story 137. Dude, I just got this new deodorant and it smells so fucking good. It's this brand with this specific fragrance. You should try it. Story 138. Americans seem the most uptight about smell of anyone I've met. Japanese might be more so. Many do not wear fragrance. They rarely tell you directly if you smell unpleasant. They might open a window, light incense, or make an excuse. Americans, however, often feel entitled to the air around them. If you smell like you work in construction, they may tell you and ask to speak to the manager about body odor. Story 139. Take the person aside, away from others, and be direct without being derogatory. If needed, be specific about breath, body odor, foot odor, or other personal hygiene issues. You can say, I do not mean to be rude, but I would want someone to tell me, so I am letting you know. Do not gossip or involve others. Speak to the person privately, be kind and diplomatic, and conclude the conversation. Story 140. You can't, so try to soften the blow by being friendly and funny, but what that entails depends on your relationship with that person. Story 141. Give them an excuse. This is what we used to say to patrons at our establishment. Hello, mister. How are you doing tonight? Have you recently started any new medication? New medications can take time to adjust to and may cause changes in body odor. People have told us you smell different than before, and we just wanted to point out that you may not yet have become accustomed to your new medication. I never met a patron who said, I don't use medication. They usually responded, oh, I'm sorry. My doctor didn't tell me about the side effects, or something similar. We didn't mind the small white lie if it prevented embarrassment. Our customers thought they were getting away with body odor, and the next time they came in they no longer smelled bad. Story 142. Hey, do you shower after sex? Maybe it's time for you. Story 143. Start out with, because I'm your friend and I care about you. Story 144. I have a more specific question. When you are at a corporate event and you are a superior, and people tell you that someone has body odor, should you go to human resources? That might be more embarrassing for the person. I have no problem telling them directly, and I try to be understanding and non-judgmental because I genuinely am. We usually stay in hotels where there are showers and laundry facilities. But I may be missing something and should consider another approach. Story 145. Just tell them they are fucking rank and move on with the day. Story 146. When I am on a team, I say, dang, we as a group may not be smelling too great. This avoids pointing a finger at any one person and encourages everyone to do a hygiene check. Story 147. So you brought the roadkill round to the barbecue that you found last week? You're an absolute star. Story 148. I'm friends with a guy who used to go to my school. He's a great guy, but he smelled bad every day. I would casually tell him, by the way, you smell a bit. And he would say, no, I don't. So I gave up. Story 149. Ugh. My son is a teenager and has strong body odor. I try, gently but firmly, to remind him to always put on deodorant after showers. I tell him to be mindful of people around him. It's common courtesy not to have a strong smell. At least he showers every day, but he has a teen hormonal, onion-like odor. Now we keep a can of deodorant spray in the car for when I pick him up from school or sports. His two teammates have no odor. Story 150. Something smells off. Do you smell that? I hope it isn't me. Story 151. Hear me out. You smell bad. Take a shower. That is how you would say it to a friend. If you want to be polite, I would say you sweat a lot or something. I use both. Story 152. I used to work with a woman who would walk into the office, look around, and say loudly, anyone want a Tic Tac? You all need one. She offended everyone equally, and we all took one just in case because you never know. Story 153. Did you accidentally put on odorant this morning rather than deodorant? Story 154. Just walk up to them, give them a big sniff from belt buckle to chin, stagger back, and say, ugh. I bet they'll get the message. Story 155. If it is a stranger, do not tell them. If it is a colleague, raise the issue with human resources. If it is a friend or family member, speak to them privately and respectfully. Think about how you would want someone to tell you. Be specific. For example, is it body odor, bad breath, or something else? Do not say you smell bad. That will not help them remedy the issue. Story 156. I told my coworker once, man, I'm only telling you this because I would want someone to tell me, but you don't smell very good. Story 157. Just pretend you recently saw a video about how glycolic acid kills bacteria and stops body odor. I find that when you act as if a tip is for you, other people will look into it for themselves. Story 158. Give them a nice present. Think up an occasion for it, such as Arbor Day, Lincoln's birthday, or the summer solstice. Depending on their needs, give a bar of soap, a bottle of shampoo, or a container of laundry detergent. You could give a laundromat gift certificate or a roll of quarters. Don't mention body odor. Just say you wanted to do something nice for the occasion. Story 159. Just keep asking the person if they can smell something bad. Sooner or later, they will get the hint or become paranoid that it is them and do something about it. I do not think there is any nice way to go about it. Only people who could really get away with it are parents. Story 160. Pull the person aside and quietly tell them they may need to apply deodorant. Do not do this in front of others. Story 161. Stretches. Wow, I am bored. You know what I find fun sometimes? A shower. Story 162. I work in a backpacker's hostel. I do not care about feelings anymore. Body odor impacts any business, and I cannot walk a newcomer into a room that stinks of feet. I go straight for the jugular and say, shower, clean your shoes, and wash your clothes. You smell bad. Story 163. Say, what's that smell? A couple of times when they walk into the room, but never let them know you mean them. Story 164. Buy a blank Hallmark card, write a message in it, and give it to them. Story 165. Give them deodorant and tell them to use it. They will connect the dots. Story 166. Yes, I think this one is a tough love situation. Look, this comes from my heart. You need to take a shower. Story 167. I always ask how often you bathe. Then I follow up by saying you stink. Story 168. I used to work the delivery shift all the time. It was considered a rude move not to tell someone they needed to put on deodorant since we got very sweaty. Story 169. Long, exaggerated yawn with a stretch. Man, I'm so bored. Let's go buy you deodorant and soap. Story 170. One time my stinky friend came to visit me at work in a salon. He was gay, and most of my coworkers were too. One of them yelled that something smelled like cat urine. That gave me the opening to take him outside and tell him he smelled like cat urine. Find a gay man to help you out, laughing out loud. They have zero filter when it comes to hygiene and clothing choices. Story 171. Ask them if you smell bad. They say no. Then you say, oh, it must be you. Story 172. I'm sorry, but I just walked past you and smelled a strong odor of feces. Did you shower? Story 173. That's one of those things that you just can't say unless you're very close to the person. Story 174. Sniffing the area, can you smell that? This way they will work it out for themselves, hopefully. Story 175. We had a woman at work who thought crystals were deodorant. I spoke with a supervisor. The issue was handled delicately, but I would not have wanted to be in that room for the meeting. Story 176. I always carry an extra deodorant in my work bag in case I forget to apply it in the morning. One day a coworker was near me much of the day and he smelled strong. I steered the conversation toward a new deodorant I had started using, saying I could still smell it the next morning. I said, oh yes, I actually have an extra right here. He took it, liked the scent, applied it, and has used it ever since. It made my day, and I'm sure he appreciated it too. Story 177. I told a friend's wife that her husband stank. I had known them for 20 years and it had never been an issue before. For some reason, I was not aware that she had little sense of smell. She thanked me, addressed the problem, and now nearly every time I see him, he asks if he smells. Story 178. Depends on the setting. 1. Work. We have a hygiene policy that applies company-wide. It is mainly for facilities that produce food, but it applies everywhere. If an employee had a strong body odor, we would call them into a private office and remind them of the policy. It was always an uncomfortable conversation. 2. Family or spouse. Ask them to shower. I have never had this issue in my family. We are all well-groomed. 3. Friend. Be direct and kind. Say that this comes from a place of friendship and that they need to shower. If they say they shower every day, ask about soap and loofahs. It is surprising how many adults do not know how to get fully clean. They often think just getting wet is sufficient. Story 179. I lost my sense of smell after coronavirus disease 2019, so I hope someone will be honest with me if I ever become smelly. Story 180. I'll admit it. I used to stink. The best thing someone did was take me aside and say, hey, I've noticed that you haven't been showering or taking care of yourself. Do you need anything? It was one of my teachers. She offered hygiene products and help. I was going through severe depression and couldn't ask for help. She offered help whether I wanted it or not, and I think she is the reason I'm still here today. The best way to tell someone is to be kind and offer help. Story 181. I am telling you because I would want someone to tell me. You smell bad. Either improve your hygiene or stop using Axe body spray. It hurts to hear now, but it hurts more to learn months later that no one cared to tell you. Story 182. Be bold and straightforward. Make no apologies for stating the obvious. I know this seems rude, but you smell awful. Are you okay? Story 183. A man started working with us about a year ago. He filled the whole building with body odor. You could tell when he arrived. One morning he went to the restroom to change into his scrubs. While they were talking, he said, I'm going to get dressed now. My coworker replied, good, put some deodorant on while you're in there. He smells better now. Story 184. There is not. I hope someone else does. If you cannot, leave an anonymous note on their desk. Story 185. Phew. Have you been working out? Or were you just cleaning your horse's stall? Story 186. I don't have an issue telling friends if they smell a little, and I'm fine if they tell me the same. I'd rather know if I smell like body odor or sweat before I get somewhere I can't fix it. My best friend even asks me to smell her to make sure she smells good. I've had social trouble for refusing to let people who smell like cigarettes smoke into my car. If you smell like you just bathed in an ashtray, I will not let you in. My car will not stink because of someone else's habits. By bad habits, I mean not taking steps to remove the smell, such as using body mist or otherwise addressing it before getting into someone else's car. It's rude not to. That said, unless the smell directly affects me or I am friends with the person, I'm not inclined to say anything. I don't know their medical history or finances. They might have no choice but to smell. If I did need to say something, I would be blunt and kind. I would say, I don't mean to be rude, but I've noticed a strong body odor. I don't want to be judgmental, but it is very noticeable. Story 187. If you ever need to get rid of someone, just tell them they stink. Story 188. My best friend and I work together. I started to notice that he smelled bad, but I had a hard time figuring out how to tell him. He was leaving his clothes in the washing machine for a day or two until he got around to putting them in the dryer. After a while, I gathered my courage and said, "Bro, you stink." We laugh about it now. Story 189. Stand near them, no closer than earshot. Look anywhere but at them, and say to someone else, "Do I smell bad?" This makes people around you check themselves. Most people figure it out unless they have a diminished sense of smell due to coronavirus disease 2019. Story 190. After quarantine, my boss told me I had an odor. I had tried a natural deodorant while home because it can take time for the body to adjust, and I forgot to switch back before returning to work. I explained and switched to regular deodorant the next day. I was grateful someone mentioned it because I had a poor sense of smell, which I later had surgically corrected, so I needed to be told. Story 191. Hey bro, do you shower? You smell like a rat's infected anus or something like that. Story 192. You could try saying it with a British accent. Everything they say sounds polite. Story 193. Have you tried this new deodorant or body wash? It's amazing. I think you'd really like it. Story 194. I was reprimanded by a partner at my law firm. I fixed the problem quickly. Story 195. Walk past them and make a disgusted face while loudly declaring, "Something smells like shit in here." Be sure to maintain strict eye contact with the person the entire time. Story 196. My son once said he smelled dog feces while standing in front of me. I was not expecting anyone that day and had not brushed my teeth. I also have lymphocytic colitis and was told the medications can cause very bad breath. I was mortified. Story 197. How would you like to be told? That's the best you can do. Story 198. Mate, you stink. It smells like swamp shit. Story 199. Friends are supposed to be the ones who warn you to prevent future embarrassment. Stinky bitch. Story 200. Hey buddy, I think we sometimes need to take a thorough shower. Story 201. Do you want to try this new deodorant and body wash I got? It smells amazing. Story 202. Hey, do you smell that? Something smells weird. Hint. Story 203. Play If You Must by Dell the Funky Homo Sapien every time you see them. Story 204. I will quietly pass gas and ask them if they smell popcorn. Story 205. Well, I'm bored. Let's each take a shower and see who can put the most soap on themselves. It's a fun game, I swear. Story 206. When was the last time you met water? Usually my line to my husband. Story 207. When you're near them, you say, "You sure smell like you put in a hard day's work today." Story 208. Fill a bucket with water, hold it up, look at them, say their name, "You stink," and soak them. Story 209. I do not know. Just keep rubbing my nose in front of them. I hope they get the hint. Or, to be more obvious, just fan your face. Story 210. Everyone else is saying you smell bad, but I do not think you smell that bad. Story 211. Something smells like a dead dog, and you begin to search the entire room for the source. Story 212. I often find myself in this position because I have trouble regulating my body temperature. I know it can be painful to hear, so I always ask if I can speak with the person privately for a moment. I begin by saying that what I am about to say will be difficult and that I struggle with this too. I explain that their deodorant may not be working as well as they think and offer them my deodorant. I also apologize repeatedly because I do not want to hurt their feelings. Story 213. One of the senior research scientists I used to work with had this issue. We all decided to leave a can of deodorant on his desk one day. It worked. Story 214, it depends on who they are and why. For body odor, I would suggest, there is time for you to take a shower before we leave. You were pretty sweaty. For clothes that smell, say, I do not know what detergent you are using, but it does not play well with your cologne and sweat. You may want to change it when you do your laundry. That is polite. If they do not get it, tell them they stink and deal with the fallout. Story 215. Fortunately, a plucky hardcore thrash band from New Jersey in the 1980s and 1990s showed us the way. Story 216. Email your supervisor and let them know that the coworker sitting next to you smells like burnt bacon, and hope they quit. Story 217. The polite way is to do it privately and honestly. Do not keep it from them. Story 218. I once had to tell a colleague about his body odor. He accepted the feedback and was embarrassed, but the odor continued. It is worth noting that this was not a financial or health issue. Story 219. In the Netherlands, we simply say you stink. Using more words only increases the tension. Story 220. There isn't, but make sure you do it discreetly. Don't point it at other people. Story 221. Say phew, what's that smell? Wave your hand toward them. Be sure they hear you and wait for a reply. Only address the problem with your soulmates. If they don't understand, just stay away. Story 222. I was the stinker. When I was a 13-year-old girl, a slightly older friend took me into her room and explained deodorant and basic hygiene, especially the importance of washing every part of your body. She was a terrible influence, very boy crazy, but I will always be grateful because my mother did not care, and as a true tomboy I was oblivious. There is no easy way to say it, but a little kindness goes a long way. No one wants to stink. Story 223. I have done it. It is unpleasant, but you are helping them. In this case, I knew the man fairly well. His blazer smelled as if it had not been laundered recently. I said, I just want to let you know that your jacket smells a little sour. I know how it is when you are rushing to get ready. No big deal. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.